have this conversation because on Let's Talk Money, we say money encompasses everything. And we know how important it is to have money, but how do you make money with friends, with a team of people around you who can help guide you? So tonight, that's the conversation we're going to have. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my friends who are on tonight. I have two great friends. One's been on the show before and one is for the first time. And I'm so excited that she's here. And we might have one other person who's trying to get on, scheduling conflict right now. But for now, I would like to give the floor to Nicole to say hello first, and then Katia can go next.
Everybody, my name is Nicole Musallam, and I wear many different hats within my community. First and foremost, as an ambassador and advocate for the Islamic community, representing us as a mosque director of various mosques in the New England region, as well as, community advocacy, working on the Disability Commission here in Malden. So any way that I can give back, I'm definitely there.
I know. I met
Nice.
Mika. What was it, like a few years ago we met? And
Yeah.
I've been, we've been talking, and and you're on my Facebook page, and you're like, Gabrielle, I've had an opportunity to take a look a couple of times at your show, and I really like it. And I was so glad when you said yes, you want to join us today. And yeah, Katia, why don't you go next? And I think the gentleman that I was waiting for is gonna be joining now. This is gonna be an exciting show, you guys.
Exciting.
Woohoo!
Hello,
Great.
everybody. Hello again. Hi, Gabby. Nice to be here again tonight. I'm glad I'm not the new kid in town. Yeah. Nice to meet you, Nicole. And I'm glad and I'm happy to hear all the work you're doing in your community, and that we were able to come together tonight with Gabby on this show. Let's make it a great show.
Yes. We're gonna make it an awesome show because who matters, right? We're different. It's gonna be a great show because we wanted to share a topic that I feel like it's very relevant for you and for me. So the topic of tonight's show is who matters. Who matters, because our matters, but who matters even more. So we do have Antonio. Is it Antonio who's trying to get on? Antonio, you are off camera, but we're gonna try to see how we can get you on camera. But ladies, the idea of who matters. And I've heard it said, and I'm sure you've heard it too, that it says that your average income is the average income of your 5 closest friends. So do you believe that a true statement? And how do you feel about it? Give me your thoughts, Nicole.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's something that I've noticed throughout my time. You hear the old adage, be watchful of who you hang out with. But even in Islam, we have this, that you choose your friends wisely. It's part of our faith and part of our teachings. And the reason for that is we want strong characteristics and strong morals and strong work ethic. So when you're with a group of people who have a certain, professionalism, certain values, then you reinforce each other, because you always face these societal pressures. And so to be able to reinforce each other and help each other in times of adversity, that's why we have that.
Yeah, that's true. And I like the idea of, like, you want people around you who have strong characters. Now, Katia, when you were growing up, I know when I was growing up, I remember my parents saying, be careful who your friends are, the company you're keeping. Like be very careful on how you choosing your friends, because of the fact that, usually those friends ended up being lifetime friendships, right? And, they can make or break you. Now, the funny thing is, as a youngster, you're like, why are my parents talking about my friends, right? Especially if you really like that person. How did you feel about it when your parents or anybody who raised you said, be careful about this particular person?
Well, I'm sure we had almost the same upbringing. It's for me, you try to not listen. We usually don't listen until something happens. But at the end, the result is always we find out really it's very important to listen to because they've lived before us and they've come a long way and they've had experiences. And also the adage of same birds of the same feathers flock together. And they want you to understand that this is the kind of bird that we're raising here. And we're raising, let's say we're raising an eagle, right? And you can't be flocking with any birds out there. You have to, the person has to be on your same level, on your level, so that they don't try to drag you down because an eagle always fly the highest. So you can't, and with experience, throughout lives, I really understand, and it had come countless times where the relationship that I've chosen really, if they're not on this level that I was raised on or I'm trying to go to, then they will tend to bring you down.
Yeah, unfortunately that's the truth, because at the end of the day, you know, parents, you're saying like they're more familiar because they're older, they've been there. And I know for me, I remember the first time my mother, she wasn't trying to judge. It was like, you know, be careful because this particular person is not going where you want to go. They're not interested in the same thing, especially if you're a person of faith like you, Nicole. I grew up in a Christian home. They're like, okay, we go to church on Sundays. What are they doing? You know, or we do this, you do that. You have to be, I'm not saying you cannot have people from different backgrounds and different faith in your circle, but the closest friends, because it says here, your closest friends have to be people who are going where you're going. So I was reading this article and it talks about the law of averages and how your friendship predict, just like the income, your net income, you know, your friendship. So I just want to talk a little bit about that, the idea of love average. I think we've mentioned it. We talked about how your environment influence who you are. So as an adult, how do you, I mean, one thing is to be a child, but how do you as an adult be sure that if you want to have a certain income, that you associate yourself with folks who can help you, lead you towards that avenue? Nicole?
Yeah, you know, I think right now where I'm at in my life is a perfect example of this, because I'm actually in the middle of a career transition where, you know, I've been doing years of nonprofit work, and now I'm ready to, you know, tackle on, you know, more responsibilities and move up to the next level. And I'm looking for a new position in a more traditional business setting. But, you know, one of the things you find out about going through this process is about networking. You know, making sure that you identify individuals who are like yourself, who share these skill sets and this passion for self-discovery, self-growth, self-learning, and, you know, using that kind of almost as a rung in the ladder, because then they're going to introduce you to their network. So when you're able to first, you know, look at your own circle of friends, identify the individuals who have, you know, the most of the qualities that you're looking to elevate towards, then you can, you know, spend more time with them and say, hey, let's hang out, or, you know, this is what's going on in my life and I'm looking for someone who can mentor me, you know, in this area. And so that's basically how I've been doing that. And I have wonderful, you know, circle of friends who've been able to connect me with people who can mentor me and help me look at the next level. And I gotta say the results are coming in. I've got some interviews lined up and things are looking very promising.
Yeah, I'm glad you know, the idea of being around people who can mentor you and friends who are, like you said, you're in transition, you're looking for new employment, and being able to have friends who can vouch for you and say, hey, I know Nicole is a hard worker, Nicole is able to do this, give her an opportunity. The idea of, you know, like referring. Do you have a specific, Katya, do you have an example of how a friend or strategic friendship relationship has helped you with your career or even school or anything? Like, we would like to share an example.
Totally. I mean, I think we all have stuff like that. But for me, one example is when I was looking for well, I was working. I do in my construction business. I do reach out to particularly to some contractors or to be able to work with me on my projects, and the relationships that I've built over the years in learning the business has helped me to be able to pick up the phone and just call somebody that probably, I mean, and not anybody could call them, but I can say, hey, I need to have access to your contractor or your plumber or your electrician. And he said, oh, I know a good one, let me send that person to you. And I trust and I believe that the person will call me within the hour, and the person is the right person to carry out the project, because that relationship that person has established, it's very costly, because you have to go through a lot of these individuals before you can find the cream of the crops, and that person is trusting me with that asset of his, because if things go wrong, he doesn't expect for things to go wrong first and foremost. And if things go wrong, he trusts that I'll make the right judgment, and also I would not blame him. And I'm doing my best to make sure that we don't even go that route. So relationship it's a great asset that we build over time, that we can just pull out, we pull this out when we're putting in as well, because we have to make sure that we are available to people in order for people to be available to us.
Yeah, I love the idea of relationship, because I know had I remember to call you
Yeah.
several years ago, I would have saved thousands of dollars, because relationship is everything. Even going back to the construction idea of, like, you're doing work and you're looking for a referral, you're looking for someone who's reliable. And if you don't have a friend, someone who can vouch for that person and say, hey, you can call this contractor, you can call this plumber, you can call this electrician, and that person is going to deliver. That's the thing. When you build strategic relationships, you save money. Not only are you making money, you're making the average money, but you ended up saving money, because it's very important. But for me, I think in terms of like referrals, you're looking for a job, you're struggling to find a job because one reason or another, because there are times in careers, like if you're transitioning, or maybe you were out of the workforce for a minute and you're trying to get back. How do you get back? Let me tell you, the best way to get back is by calling a friend, a college friend, someone that you've known for years, and say, hey, I'm trying to get back. I just raised my kids. Now I'm trying to, I just left, work for a long time. That company, I no longer want to be here, but I'm trying to get to another industry. Could you help me? Those relationships are priceless. That's why it's, again, I love the idea of what you know matters, but who you know matters even more. Would you agree again, Nicole?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's this idea of the law of attraction. You've read that book, The Law of Attraction, where the idea of the people that you know typically reflect who you are. And the idea of, like, when you get the help, you have to be able to give it back. So Nicole, can you give me an example of how you were able to help somebody else? Because I think paying it forward or giving back is also very important when you build in strategic relationships, because it cannot be a one-sided situation. Why do I say that? Oh boy, I've had so many one-sided relationships where I would have no problem, Nicole, picking up the phone and say, oh, I was passing by here and I saw somebody's looking for help. Do you want to go and call them? I've already sold you. You are already coming highly recommended. And then I'm sitting looking for support and I never get that. So can you share how important it is to not be a one-sided friend?
No, definitely. And another, aspect of my work that I didn't share previously is also politics. I just completed a run for state representative in the September primary. It was
Yeah.
highly competitive, highly race.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the world of politics, relationships are everything. And it very much is it has to be give and take. If it's not, then you lose your credibility, even more so in that sphere. And so when I had, people reaching out to me over the years, I've always, I view it like a bank account. I'm making an investment because I know one day I might, need to make a withdrawal. Unfortunately, I did have, some relationships that didn't honor that investment. And, it really, stung. So I'm even more cognizant of that fact. But so when I help people, as an example, I had somebody who, she's a consultant. I didn't even know this, that she's a mentor. She's meeting with me for free, based off of a mutual connection who highly recommended me. And at the end of the conversation, when she's given me such valuable help and guidance, she goes, by the way, I normally charge $250 an hour.
Oh, wow.
And I was floored, so I was like, okay, well, please, put me in your Rolodex, because in our conversation, we had already talked about, a business venture that she was about to start on. And even before knowing this tidbit that she gave me at the end, I was like, here are people that I know, because she came highly recommended by our mutual connection. So I knew I could trust her professionalism. And I said, these are the people in my own network who I believe can help you with your endeavor. I'll get you connected. So already, her and I are doing this relationship building. And it turns out that was a good, call on my end, finding out that, I took up $250 worth of her time.
Yeah.
But, that's how it goes. It's give and take. And you always want to enter every relationship with that type of mindset. How can we help each other? Not just how can you help me?
Correct. And I like the fact that you were able to quantify. I mean, she told you how much it was, but you in your mind, oh, let me quantify this relationship. It's not just she is giving you 2 hours of her time. Someone who has an expertise in something, and they went to school, they have that as their background, and they're sitting with you as a friend, taking the time to tell you how to do something. Listen, that's money. That's a lot of money that they're giving to you, because the knowledge that they acquired through school costs them a lot of money. So those relationships have to be give and take relationship. It cannot be, right, Katia? It cannot be a relationship where you just like come and take. So I was having a conversation with you, Katia. Katia, you said you were a newbie. Actually, I was like, wait a second. I know Katia came to my house. You came years ago with your partner at the time. I used to have this at home on Thursdays. You remember? You came one time with
yes, that is true.
I used to have conversation like this, Nicole, at home. Every Thursday. I love to cook. Katia was saying, like, do you like to cook? I'm like, yes, Katia. Remember you ate my food? I love to cook. True. So I used to have a dinner gathering where we would have conversation about money, life, and everything else. The same thing here. Actually, I decided to come online here because of COVID. During 2020, I'm like, instead of not being able to invite folks to my house, why not do it via Zoom? And because I believe relationship, because I've been able to connect so many friends who've been on this show with one another, and they're doing business together. They're venturing, they're doing different things together, because relationship is everything. And yes, your knowledge, your education, your degrees, yes, they are important, but your friendships and relationship, that strategic relationship that you build every day will change you. I have a mutual friend who actually was on the show the other day. She was going through a lot with a construction situation, and she talked about it last week. But as I was talking to Katia, I was like, Katia, I completely forgot about you, because she had moved out of state. I'm like, I forgot about you. I need you to go immediately. Let me text you that person's number, because I need you to go and rescue this family for me. And Katia's been doing such an awesome job. So the very fact that she's alleviating the stress of this family is giving me joy. And also to, I'm sure, position her to make money. Would you agree?
Of course.
Yeah,
And that's the beauty of building rapport, because from time to time, when the first time we met, under the circumstances that we met, and we, we kept the relationship, but we were always giving to each other. And I never thought that, okay, at some point we might be doing business, or you might be referring business to me. But that's how it goes as you build, because in this day and age, people tend to want to take and take and take and never give. But I've found out that the best way to receive is when I give. And I'm always setting up relationship for people in my line of business. If somebody needs something, they would want to be part of it so that they can make money too. But I don't do it that way. If somebody needs to have access to the plumber that I use, I say, oh, go to this job for that person. That person, that specific person, if I need something, maybe 2-3 months, a year, they would remember that I did something for them without having to get something back. But you build those rapports, but you have to also know who you're building them with, because you don't want to keep giving of yourself too much to people that are ungrateful. That's when you start, you get tired, you get angry, but it doesn't have to be that way.
yeah, for the frustration, right, Nicole?
Exactly.
So
That's
go on.
right.
I like the segue, because I was saying, should every relationship be strategic? Or can you make some friends where you just like killing times with them? Those like, I mean, like, we have 24 hours, right, Nicole? I know
Yeah.
you have a family, you have children, and you have a career to manage, you have politics, you have all that stuff. Do you have time to just chill with people who are not bringing anything to you, and vice versa?
Not really, no. Sad to say, this is an area that during this career transition I'm working on, in that I have almost no social life at the moment.
Yeah.
But so it does, like, it. Yes, that there are some friends that are still in my social circle all the way back from high school, and our trajectories are very different.
Mhm.
But we still fulfill each other in a certain way, and I wish I had more time. But you're correct. When you have a busy schedule, and like every minute has to count, and so I do prefer to hang out with individuals who are as motivated as myself, who have the same values as myself, because I find that when I don't, the interaction isn't as fulfilling, the
Yeah.
conversation isn't as rich. So that is a very key point.
Yeah. Some people like to take up your time. They take up a lot of your time. And again, going back to the selfish nature, they're taking up. I remember once upon a time, my cell phone used to be on constant ring, ringing. And I'm like, okay, what's the conversation? What is it bringing me? This conversation wasn't bringing me anything. And at the end of the day, when I had something of value that I wanted these particular people to help me with, they were nowhere to be found. So I decided that strategically, those relationships are useless to me in some ways. So therefore, I had to move away from that. And moving away from that really open up space. Would you agree, Katia? Doesn't it open
Definitely.
up space to bring in new people? Well,
Correct.
Katia publicly, I obviously my voice is not doing so well. And yesterday, because we're doing a business transaction, I'm talking to Katia and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I caught something maybe on Sunday when I was screaming so much at the concert with Kirk Franklin and the Maverick City music. And she's like, oh, it's late now, but tomorrow morning I'll bring you something. And then the first person who was ringing my bell this morning was Katia with a bottle of concoction. So far, so good. But the thing is that this is someone that I met, and I met her very briefly, and then we didn't see each other for a long time. But because since she came back a couple months ago, we've been building up our relationship. I called my mom and I said, guess what? My friend Katia, she just bought me this, and my mom's like, oh wow, that's a nice one. I'm like, yeah, I just met her not too long ago. But you know, for her to think about me like that, I was like, okay, how can I help her? Because that's how we were raised, my family. You give to us, we want to give back to you because we want you to understand that we appreciate it. So yeah, you know, what do you do in relationships, Katia, where these people are not really giving you anything? I mean, like, do you stick around and say, I just want to be friends with you? Or do you make room, create space for better friendships?
Well, great question, by the way. In what I do, I kind of do things a little bit differently because with experience, I'm not going to say age, with experience and being in business, I understand how about relationships and also build them over time and kind of weigh them out and see which ones to keep around or which one to let go at a specific period of time. But I have a friend that told me one time, he said, Katia, every person, I'm not going to say the word he used, but he said, every person knows a winner. And I hold dearly that thought because it so happened that one time I was somewhere and I was looking for some information, and the person that I got that gave me that information, I would never think had that information. And I've had other people that referred me on the street that referred me to a particular property, and those people, they're begging for money, but they'll refer me to a particular person that needed help with a property or that was selling a property. So those are not really relationships per se. However, that moment that you spent, that span of moment that you spent with that person, you kind of created a relationship. Even the person asking you for money, the way you interact with the person, he would not go on and telling me, we wouldn't have the conversation about what I do for him to even refer me to that property that would make me thousands of dollars. So I tend to weigh them out and see which one, what level do I keep that? And those are the ones that just come in and you see quickly that that's going to waste of your time, period. And you have to let them go.
Yeah, I'm glad, you know, I'm a people person. So, you know, I was at an event several years ago and I'm sitting next to Nicole. I'm like, hi, Nicole, how are you? I'm Gabrielle. And then we exchanged numbers and contact information. That's how we've stayed in contact. When she was running, she sent me information and I was like back and forth, like every once in a while I'm emailing her how things going. So being able to build relationships everywhere you go is so important, especially if you're trying to build something in life. So yeah, your knowledge important, it matters. What you know matters, but who you know matters even more. So it's right. You don't know who you're gonna meet. But when you've build relationships, long-term relationships with folks that, you know, over and over time, they've shown you that, listen, I'm not interested in being part of your winning team. I'm not interested in supporting you. I'm not interested in vouching for you because I don't trust you enough to do that for you. And you see yourself spending a lot of time with those same groups of people, you need to think about it because at the end of the day, we all have limited time and limited resources, and you don't want to be wasting time. Time is a huge resource that you can never get back once you've lost. That's why I think going back again with parents saying, be strategic, because when you were young, you think you can waste all the time. But when you're older, that's a different thing. I know I want to respect your time, Nicole, because I know you have the kids tonight. Is there one last word? Actually, the last question, and I have my other guest who's trying to get on. So maybe
Okay.
I can be on for a couple more minutes after that. But, you know, in terms of like, if you find yourself in a stagnant relationship and you like to improve your circle of friendship, I think you mentioned it quickly. Can you say one thing before you hang up? Like, how can somebody improve their circle of friendship if they find themselves in those type of relationship we just mentioned?
Yeah, it's it's the same thing with, many different concepts in life across the board. You give resources to things that will be fruitful in your life. So for me, faith is important. So I know I'm going to carve out some time to, as a Muslim, we pray 5 times a day. I'm going to make sure that I go and I meet my sisters at the mosque, and so we're cultivating those types of relationships, and we want to be mindful too of each relationship serves a purpose. So sometimes I have people who, I'm friends with them because they help me be a better Muslim, to have better faith. I have friends who, help me be more professional and offer me career guidance, and it's okay to go and hang out with them every once in a while. But I think it's being able, as Katia said, to sift through that sea, identify the individuals who embody what you're looking for and who you want to be, and investing in those, giving those the resources. And when you do find ones that aren't going to take you where you are, don't make that investment. It's like it's a plant. If you don't water it, eventually it's gonna shrivel up and go away. You don't have to really do anything more drastic than that. It's a natural flow. So I guess parting advice would be for people, be open to every opportunity. Always give a person a fair shake, and they might have a golden gem somewhere that you don't know you're missing. But and then take it from there, put them in your 2 groups. Am I going to water this relationship and help it grow? Or am I just, going to let it drift away?
Yeah. You have to do that.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Nicole. That was awesome. Please do come back again.
You, Katia.
I'll talk to you later. Thank you, Nicole. But don't hang up, Katia. I think Antonio is trying to come on right now.
We can give him a few
Sorry,
minutes.
I'm sorry. I've been trying to get on. I went to the store, and yes, I'm a man of integrity. I give you my word. I will do my best. I'll go above and beyond to make sure that I show up. Even though even though I can't be seen, I can be heard. And so far, I know I've heard so much enriched motivational words and encouragement from the sisters on the call. And I just appreciate that really, really, really. I don't know if
I wanted to say again, thank you, because I know you've been calling me all day today saying like we really want to help you out today, but you had a busy day. I know you're a teacher and you do such a great job. And I met Antonio. You can let people know to Love Life Now Foundation. And we were talking about, how important it is to help children to understand how important it is to build great long-term strategic relationships. So can you tell us a little bit about how you've helped your students to think about friendship and relationships strategically?
Well, one thing, I work with high school students, and most of my students, they all come from various backgrounds, various districts all over Massachusetts. So which means they're coming from Lawrence, they're coming from Lynn, they're coming from Boston, they're coming from as far as close to the borders of Providence to New Hampshire. So they come to our school because their school does not provide them with the social emotional skills that they need. So my school provides those services to them and help them at the same time navigate the academic needs so they can graduate. So as a homeroom teacher counselor, they bring me because the kids right now, they do not have social skills. They do have some, but what they have is not good enough for them to build long-lasting relationship. And they will be your friends. They will friend you via Facebook, via Instagram is their thing, and it's like for instant gratification. It's not for long-lasting relationships. So I don't think we're having conversation with young people about that. Like you and I, we grew up with, I got friends I talk to every morning from 6 o'clock till 7 in the morning. 5 of us, we talk every morning for the past 30 years. We make that our point. We're in DC, we're in New York, we're in Atlanta. I'm in Boston. We have one in Haiti, and we talk every day. Okay, so these are long-lasting relationships. And yes, we talk about what I think I caught some of the conversation you were having as far as friendships that are worth I'm sorry, but
Cultivating and building
cultivating,
up.
yes.
Yeah.
So what do you get out of those friendship? I think I know for me, quick story, I came from a background, I did sports in high school, and I was able to get a scholarship for sports in college. I went to Northeastern University on a scholarship for track and football, and I became a professional athlete. I tried out for the football Cleveland Browns, and I also ran track for Adidas. So I left school early, try to follow a professional athlete, professional sport career. And as you know, you get older, the game changed. I went back to finish my degree in psychology, and I started working with professional athletes. What I mean by that is, just like they were kids, they left school early and signed a contract with the Patriots, whatever, Celtics, whatever it is. Those are still people that need skills to learn to differentiate. People are my friends because I got this jersey on. They're not my friend because of my integrity. They're not my friend because I'm punctual. They're not my friend because I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this. They're my friend because they can get something from me. So there's a lot of trusting issue that they learn how to protect themselves, unfortunately, because that's how it is. That's how it is for real. They realize people are talking to me because I got this jersey on. If I did not have this jersey and jump high and run fast, I would not be worth your time. So they learn to, we don't teach them that. We teach them how to break down those barriers, to let people in their lives. And if people do take advantage of you, guess what? It happens. But just be mindful that you are the person that you are. And those people does not define you, make you like, get away from me, I don't want to sign your autograph, being mean and being distant. So a lot of them develop those skills as time goes on. So my job working with those student athletes is trying to make them be mindful and be strategic as far as the people that they bring into their life, from the agent who really might care about you or might not, because they just want to get 3% of your contract. So how do you learn that? So especially if you come from a background where you've been burned by your friends, you've been burned by family, you've been burned by your coaches, by your teachers who are going to give you straight A's, knowing that you don't deserve it just because they know you're going to become a professional athlete. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stuff that these people are going through. And on Sunday, we watch those games. We don't know what's going on behind those helmets, behind those jerseys, the pain. That's where the drug usage come in, the alcohol comes in, the steroid come in, because I gotta remain relevant. So I gotta stay in the game. Why is Tom Brady playing at 45? Does he really need to?
Yeah.
Hello? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
at
these
the expense of his family. Yeah.
Exactly. So this,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, so I hear you because I know in terms of like I said, we met at this organization, and I know one of the things that you're really passionate about, and that's why I really appreciate and respect you as a man. When you are in the circle, in the environment where there are other men talking about women, and they're being influenced negatively about relationship, you always step up and say, can you talk about that, please?
Yes. One of the things what Gabby's talking about is I do a thing called Cut It Out. Vernon and I, we used to go to barbershops, and let's say it's an all male setting, and we do have young boys there, adults, all different groups, different races, and sometimes the TV's on. When the TV's on, certain commercials come on, certain shows are being watched, and the conversation tend to switch where someone may become very derogatory towards women. Oh, she's a this, she's a that, she's a that. And you hear that, you keep your mouth shut because you're a new barbershop. Then after a while, you see other people start jumping in the conversation. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, me too. Let me tell you a story. And you see this badge. Everybody start talking trash about this one person on the TV that just happened to be a woman. And this is where I stand up. And I'm like, wait a minute. How many of us have a woman in our lives that we care and love? Raise your hand, anybody. And they're like, yo, who's this dude? So I get looked at a certain way. And this is an intimidating thing. As male culture, the masculine toxicity, we have that. So they look you up and down, trying to think you're going to shut down. And, when you don't, you get quote unquote respect. So I say, if you have a woman in your life you care and love, raise your hand up. And everybody does. And I said, you know what, this woman that you're talking about right now, I bet you If I ask her brother or her father or uncle, whatever, they're gonna say they care about her too. And that's somebody's sister, that's somebody's daughter, that's somebody's mother. And for them to put that together, to see the wheels turning in their head, some of them get mad because why did you make me think that way, sir? They don't know me. Why did you make me think that? Now I can't get that out of my head, man. That's what it is. It just gives you an opportunity to do. We talk about empathy a lot. How do we put ourselves in somebody else's shoe? And that's why I give men permission to do that. You know, it's dark early at 5, 6 o'clock. It's dark early. The train station's outside my house. The way women used to walk down the dark alley, think about you as a man now, what you have to do when it gets dark. You know, do you have to put your key a certain way? Do you have to park your car under the light? Do you think about that? Do you think about when the construction site the houses are being built at the construction site, because when you walk by, you know, when your sister, your mother's getting catcalled. And if you don't answer, they call her a B word. Okay, so how do you know this is what your sister and your mother or your daughter go through on a regular basis, try to protect herself from us as we behave. And when you talk about stuff like that, they look at you like, yo, who are you? Why are you doing this? And one thing they try to do is say, are you gay? That's the only thing they have. You must be gay. Like, okay, I am gay because I care about the safety of my mother, my sister, your sister.
Or you must be a feminist.
Yes.
You believe that everybody should be treated with respect.
Exactly.
So Antonio, you gotta come back. You gotta come back because you know what you have to offer is valuable, and I want our audience here to hear and to become familiar with your voice, because not only your voice but your face. Because you are model. I was at the fashion show and I saw you. So,
he was a model?
Yes, he was one of the models. Antonio is a giver, and he was willing to do. He's always willing to do everything to help this organization and also friends. So I just wanna say thank you. I know it was late that you were able to jump on. We don't want to keep this any longer for tonight, but we want to continue with that conversation.
Sure.
Sounds good.
I believe that. Tell me who your friends are, and I tell you who you are. So
my grandmother used to say that.
Yeah, every time Antonio opens up and say to a young man or an older man, you cannot do it like this. Guess what? They're changing, and that's important. Your friends can make or break you.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. Monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey do.
We're not calling you monkeys. It's just an expression. Somebody got mad one time because they heard that. It's a business terminology saying like, listen, what you see is what you're gonna be doing. So it's very important to place yourself strategically around people who can help you, because insanity is doing the same thing and expecting
the same result.
Yeah, going back again to you are in your environment and it's abusive, like Antonio has experienced. What do? Do you speak up? Do you remove yourself from that? You have to make that choice, but you cannot continue to expose yourself to something that is not gonna be healthy for you. I encourage you tonight to go and cultivate those type of relationships. So thank you, Antonio, for my strategic relationship with you. And thank you, Katia, for my strategic relationship.